For the past couple of months, I've been using Claude Cowork as the central hub for my entire business. And this works out really well because I can connect it up with many of the apps I already use. Things like Gmail, Google Drive, Notion, and Asana, for instance. But there's a problem with these connectors. Some of them just don't do that much. For instance, it can draft an email for you, but it won't send it. And it can read your Google Sheets, but it can't update any of the rows for you. Luckily, I found a tool that fixes that. And once I set this up, Claude Cowork went from being a helpful assistant to an AI employee that can genuinely run parts of my business on autopilot. This video is sponsored by Zapier. If you're not familiar with connectors, you can find those in Claude Cowork by clicking on the left where it says Customize, and then click on Connectors. If you click on this plus icon, you'll see all of the connectors that natively work with Claude Cowork. Here, for instance, you can see I have my Gmail connected. So if I come over to a new task and ask it to summarize the last few emails that I received, it can do that. If I ask it to draft a reply to an email, it can do that as well. But if I ask it to send the email for me, it just can't do that. And that's the case for a lot of these connectors. The connector exists, it's just pretty weak. And of course, there are some connectors that just don't exist. Now, some of that makes sense. You don't want your AI going rogue and emailing your whole contact list. But as you start to trust Cowork more and start building real workflows with it, you'll want more of those automations. So the fix that I found for this is Zapier MCP. If you've heard of Zapier before, you probably know it as the tool that connects different apps together. What you might not know is that they have an MCP server that acts as a bridge between Claude Cowork and over 9,000 apps. So if you're unsure how to connect your tool to Claude, you can do it through Zapier. And Zapier gives Claude way broader permissions than what the built-in connectors offer. Let me show you an example. Here I'll start a new task and tell Cowork to find the latest email, draft a reply, and send it using the Zapier connector. Opening up connectors, this time I will turn off the Gmail connector and turn on the Zapier one. Now if I send this along, you can see that it found the email, drafted a reply, and actually sent it. And if we come over to my Gmail, you can see that in the sent folder right here. So the same exact email, the same exact request, only through the Zapier MCP, it's able to do so much more. Setting this up takes about 5 minutes. Head over to the link that I have for you in the description down below. If you already have a Zapier account, you can log in. If not, you'll need to set up an account. It is free to get started. Once you're logged in, click on the top where it says Products, and then click where it says Zapier MCP. Next, click on Get Started. This is the Zapier MCP dashboard. Over here on the left, click on New MCP Server. It's going to ask you which client you want to connect. Pick Claude and then click Connect. Follow the instructions and it will link everything up automatically. Once it's set up, you'll see your MCP server over here on the left. Then in the middle, this is where you can add the apps that you want to connect to Claude Cowork. Click on where it says Add Apps, and then search for the tool or app that you want to use. If you click on any of them, you'll see all the permissions that you can give Claude. For Notion, for instance, you can give it permission to get blocks, find page comments, update pages, get page properties, add blocks to pages, add comments, etc., etc. You can turn all of these on or pick and choose which ones you want to add. In this case, for Notion, I'll select all the tools and then click on Connect. Then, of course, you'll need to log into that app to enable the connection. After signing in, you can click on the bottom right where it says Add Tools. Now, if you come back to the connectors on Claude Cowork, you'll see Zapier. All the permissions from every app you added will show up in one list here. For instance, I have Asana added to Zapier, so I see all my Asana permissions. I have Gmail added, so I see all my Gmail permissions, Google Sheets, PayPal, and Notion. So now if I turn off the official Gmail connector and ask Claude Cowork to send an email for me, it will automatically use the Zapier MCP and send that email for me. Once you've connected one app, adding more is easy. Just go back to your MCP server and click on Add Tool. Let's try another one. I currently have this Google Doc I'm sharing with some friends so we can plan a trip together. Now, Claude has native integration with Google Drive, but it can't actually edit my Google Docs. which I think is pretty silly. But if we look at the Google Docs app for the Zapier MCP, you can see that you can do a lot with this, certainly a lot more than you can with the native integration. So let's add this to Zapier. I'll select all the tools, click on Connect, connect my account, and then add the tools. Now returning back to Claude, and I tell it that I have a Google Doc that I'm using to plan a trip with my friends, and I'm asking it to organize and provide suggestions based on what everyone has added to that doc. Under connectors, I'll of course make sure that Zapier is turned on and send that to Claude. And it will then use the Zapier MCP to be able to work with that Google Doc. So you can see it successfully found the right document and it's starting to get to work. So if we take a look at what we have on our Google Doc, it's pretty sparse. It's just a couple of ideas and some feedback from my friends about dietary restrictions. But after just a minute or so, we get this, a cleaned up document. It actually went out and did research for us and replaced the old text with this new one, which is something you just cannot do with the built-in connector. There are also plenty of apps that I have found that Zapier supports that don't exist natively inside of Claude at all. Apps like YouTube and Claude, for instance. Honestly, I'm still finding new ones every day. There are over 9,000 apps on Zapier, and I've maybe tested a couple dozen of them. If there's a tool you use that isn't available as a built-in Claude connector, there's a good chance Zapier has it. With the Zapier MCP, you also get full control at all times. At any point, you can remove any of the apps from your server or configure the settings and permissions. That way, you are always in control. And finally, everything you do in Zapier is logged. You can go into your Zapier history and see every single action your AI took, when it did it, and what the results were. So if something goes wrong, you can trace it and fix it. To get started with Zapier MCP, you can click the link in the description down below. You can try everything I showed you today on Zapier's free plan. That gives you 100 tasks per month, and each time Cowork uses a Zapier tool, that counts as 2 tasks. If you start using it heavily, like with daily scheduled automations, you'll of course want to upgrade to one of the paid plans. So if you're using Claude Cowork and you feel like it could be doing a lot more for you, Zapier MCP is the easiest way to make that happen. It took me 5 minutes to set up, and it turned Cowork from something that helped me do my work into something that does my work for me. If you want to try it, head to this link. The link will also be in the description down below. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.